Hello friends, so today we're going to discuss the first 4 problems from the latest Ad Coder Beginner Contest 185, and the E problem I have already uploaded, so you can check that video also out. And the first 4 problems will be discussed in this video, so stay tuned. And if you like these explanations, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I have made a lot of videos for your practice so that you can become a pro in competitive coding, and so in return you can also press that subscribe button for my support also. So let's start. The first problem is ABC preparation, in which as you can see, for making a contest you have to make 4 problems of each type. So the one problem of 100 points, one problem of 200 points, one problem of 300 points, and one problem of 400 points. So as you can see, now let's assume that you have some different types of problem with you, in which you have different type of problems of each type, which is like you have A1 problems of 100 types, A2 problems of 200 types, and so on, and you have to find out how many contests you can hold. So it's just simple, because as you can see from this example, because for every contest you want each type of problems once. So as you can see, if you have B type of problem only 3, you cannot repeat the same question again. Then you can only make 3 contests, because after the 4th contest there is no problem of type B, so you cannot make a contest, and thus the answer is just minimum among all of them. And that's a very simple observation you can find out, and thus the answer is just minimum among all of them. So that's the whole code. I can show it out. It's just I think so it's minimum. Okay, yeah, just finding on the minimum among all of them. Okay, now the second problem is smartphone addiction, in which there's a battery of Takahashi smartphone with n mAh capacity at time 0.5, 1.5, 2.5. So starting from 0, after so it's starting from 0.5. After every minute, the capacity or the charge of the battery decrease by 1 mAh. Now Takahashi will leave his house with a full battery charge. So let's assume that he leave his house at time equal to 0 and with full battery, and he visit m times. He visit a cafe m times and return the home at t time. So I'll show you more with the test example which is given. So you just assume that there is Takashi home. He leaves it at t 0 times. Sorry. Then he go to some cafe, and he go to the cafe at AI and leave at BI, which is also given. So he will stay in the ith cafe from AI to BI, and then let's assume that he leaves this cafe at BI, and then he go to the new cafe at A2. This is maybe A1, and then leave the other cafe at B2, and so on. And then what you can see in the end, what will happen? He will go to the house at time t. Now what he'll do, at each cafe he will charge his phone in the charger in the cafe, and then at that time, in every 1 minute, the capacity or the charging will increase by 1 mAh. In this time it will not decrease, but in the free time, when he go to the cafe or when he is moving around the different cafes, when he return to the home, at that time the battery will go it will decrease by 1 mAh at every minute. So you have to find out at any instance, if he is moving, if he is not charging, whether the battery goes equal to or less than 0. It will not go less than 0, it will become equal to 0. At any time if it become equal to 0, then you have to output no, you cannot, this is not possible that you have some minimum battery in your phone at every time. That is not possible. Your battery will become 0 at some time. And in the hotels or in the cafes, he will recharge, he can recharge his phone. So that's the whole problem. So what you can see, the constraints are very small. So what you can easily do over is you can iterate over this m value and check that you start from 0, and then check that, as you can see, he'll start from 0. There are 2 cafes. He will enter the first cafe at 9, as you can see, at time equal to 9, and leave at 11. And same, he'll enter the next cafe at 13 and leave at 17, and he comes to his home at 20. Sorry. So as you can see, now if he leaves his home at 0 and go to the cafe at 9, there is 8 minutes in which he is roaming around, what you can say. So in that time battery will decrease. Now when he is in the cafe from 9 to 11, he can increase his battery from 2 hours, because he is in the cafe 2 hours. Then he has been out again from 11 to 13, 2 hours, 2 minutes, so it will again decrease. Then from 13 to 17 it will increase, and then from 17 to 20 it will also decrease. So it cannot, if the battery also cannot exceed its maximum level, and it can also, if it becomes 0 at any point, you will have to return like 0. So what you can easily do is just iterate over all the m values, like find out the simple answer is just brute force way, and then you can find out whether it is possible that at any instant it becomes 0 or not. I'll take out to the code part, even make it more clear. So as you can see, this is input of nmmt. Okay, t is equal to 0 means that you are taking the current instance at t equal to 0, and then this is the maximum, which stores that what is the maximum capacity of your like mobile phone, and iterate over all the cafe's time from 0 till m. Okay, take the input of the arrival and departure. Now what you can see here is, okay, now you have two options. What are the two options? Because you arrive at the cafe at a time, and the current time you leave your home or at the any time, it is a t. So you are outside the cafe from a till t. So you have to subtract that from your mobile phone. And if you subtract that from mobile phone, if my mobile phone battery becomes less than equal 0, just output no. Because you want every time that your mobile should have some value. If it becomes 0, less than 0 at any time, you just return on 0, like no. Else, now if you're in the cafe from time A to B, so you will increase the battery. Even if your battery might becomes greater than, like maybe you are in the cafe for a long time and your battery is just 5 mAh, so it cannot exceed 100, like it cannot become very large. So you have to also see that if n become greater than maximum is the maximum capacity of the mobile phone, you have to round it out to n only. And then now, because you are out from the cafe, your time will become equal to b, and then you continue doing this for all the cafes, and then after leaving the cafe, your time is equal to t, but you reach your home at this time, this t. So there's also some drop in the battery, which is t minus t. So you again check that in this area also, if my battery becomes less than 0, then less than or equal to 0, then the answer is no, else the answer is true. I hope you understand the logic of this problem also. It's very simple, you just have to iterate over all the cafes and just take out these values. Okay, now the third problem. Third problem is pretty good, in which there is an iron bar of length L. As you can see, if there's an iron bar, I can delete it out first. Yes, and then you have to do some cuts, and they are given that you have to do 11 cuts. If you do 11 cuts, how many like bars you will have? 12 bars, obviously. If you do 11 cuts, then you will have 12 bars. And then what they'll say that you have to find out the number of ways to divide this, such that how many possible number of ways are there to divide this, which means that let's assume that I have a bar of length like 14. So which means that you can either make your first bar length equal to 1, and then you have to divide this 13 into some part, such that there are now like 10 cuts remaining, which like in simple terms you have to find out what are the possible configurations, which means that you can make the first part equal to 1 length, second part equal to 2 length, third part again equal to 1 length, second part equal to like 1 length, and so on. And then this is one case. The other case can be you can make the first part equal to 2 length, the second part equal to 1 length, the third part equal to 1 length, and so on. So that you have the length equal to this n given length, and you have to find out the possible number of configurations or cut. You have to exactly do like 11 cuts, such that you have 12 pieces. But what are the different configurations of those 12 pieces? So it's just a simple DP problem, because I just observed that after reaching some state, what it means by this is that you have done some cuts. Let's assume now you are at some state. State means that now you have some length which is equal to 5, let's assume. So now if you know that for a length of 5, how many different configurations I can get. If I have, let's assume, a length of 5, if I have to do some cuts, if I have to do, let's assume, 3 cuts, what are the possible number of answers I can get? If I know that value, I can use that value again. Again, maybe it can happen that this sub answer can be used again. So now what are the values you have to see, that how many cuts I have to do and what is the length remaining. These two values will help us to define a state. You have to first see how to define a state, because for every length you have to find out that maybe my length is equal to 3 and I have to do 2 cuts. Maybe my length is equal to 7, I have to do 3 cuts. What are the possible number of configurations I can get? So you can store that answer, and thus you require number of cuts in this like length, and what is the length itself. So you require a DP table of like n by n, or because as you can see the length of this is like pretty small, 200, so I have just made it around like 300. You can make it around 300 and 300. Okay, and then what you can easily do in here is you can initialize your, like this is an OK function. So you have to keep track of I, which is the current cut you have to do, and then how many cuts you have to do again, like how many cuts they are still to be done. Which I mean by this is, let's assume that I have the initial length, and the number of cuts I have to do is 11. Okay, and the initial value is 0 because I have done no cuts. Now what I will do, I will iterate that. Okay, my first cut can be at this position, which is 1. If I do this cut at the first position, then what I mean by this is my next length will be total length minus this length. So as you can see, 0 means that my first value or my iteration start from 1. Now my next value will start from, let's assume that I have made 1 cut from here. So my next value will start from 2. Or sorry, 1. Because 1 is my starting point for the next cut. I have to start my new cut after 1. So I can put at this point, this point, and this point. And how many cuts I have to do again now? And now I have 10 cuts left. So if I find out the answer for this, I can show it out. So it's just that we have to see that starting from this index, after this index, how many cuts I have to make. From 0, I have to make 11 cuts. So I should start from 1. Because there is no cut, at 0 there is no cut. From 0, I have a whole string, a whole length, and I have to do 11 cuts. Now maybe I put a 1 cut at 1 point. Now after 1, this means that after this index, how many cuts I have to do? What is the number of ways if I have this number of cuts and I have to start from this point? And you have to find out the answers for this and store them in a DP table and then reuse them to find out the new answers. I'll take out the code part now. You can also look down the code part in the description of this video. So yeah, so as you can see, this is the code now. Nope, this is not the code. This isn't the code. This is okay. Yeah, this is the code. So as you can see, this is I made the DB table because everything is very long. Everything is not very long. You have to make this value long because as you can see in the question itself, they are saying that the answer is always proved to be less than 2 to the power 63, which means like a long, like variable you have to take, and you have to store those answers. That's what I've done. And yep. So this is the solve function. I've made this memset equal to -1. This GP table initially -1. Start from n, and I've told you this is an OK function. So 0th index, n is the value which is the total length. I've also stored that. You can also make this global, whatever you want. And this is the total number of cuts I have to do. This is the OK function. So it's just a recursive DP memorization technique. So if my I goes beyond n, which means that the starting index is like more than n, then how I can make the number of cuts? So answer is 0. If my cuts become 0, then means that okay, this is one configuration I have found out, because now I have put all the cuts and now my cuts become 0. So this is one possible configuration. So now I will return 1 because this is one possible configuration. If I have stored out this final answer, then I will return out what is the final answer. And for calculating out all the possible configurations, what I actually have to do here is I have to find out that if I put my 1 cut at 1 position, then what is the number of possible combinations for this left part. Maybe if I put my cut at the 2nd position, then what is the number of configuration for this part. If I put at a 3rd position, and so on. So I have to find out for all the values. But because the length is very small, it can be done easily. And thus, that's what I'm doing. I'm iterating over all the values from, as you can see, I plus 1 till n, the whole length. And finding out, or actually adding out all the values for now, because if I put the cut at jth position, my new cut or starting position will be j, n will remain same, and because I put 1 cut, my cut will decrease by 1. And I will add out all the values for this and just return out the answer for this addition of all the values, and also store that in the DP table. And I hope you get the value and the intuition for this problem also. It's a very standard DP problem. You just have to write the memorization and the recursive formula and then just apply memorization in that. And then the fourth problem is also very simple. You just have to understand the time constraints and the constraint itself to make it even more clear. So there are n squares arranged in a row from left to right. The square I will be the ith square from the left. So you have some squares, as you can see. Maybe you can see, I'm just drawing balls, sorry, but they are squares. So you have some squares, and m of those squares, these m values, are blue, and all of the others are white. Okay, so some of them are blue and some of them are white. you will choose a positive integer k just once and make a stamp with width k. It means that you just make a stamp of width k. Stamp means that a window, you can assume there's a window. In one use of stamp with width k, you can choose k consecutive squares from the n squares and repaint them red as long as those k squares doesn't contain a blue square. It's in simple words, maybe that this square is blue and this square is also blue. Now you have to find out that you will take some stamp length width and you will, let's assume that the stamp width is equal to 2. Now you will take a 2 window bar, and if there is some balls which is white, maybe this is blue, you will paint the white balls red. But you can, and all the balls in this stamp will be painted red. But you cannot take this as a window because in this window blue is also taken. So you just have to always take a window in which either the ball is, it should not contain any blue. So you can also take this also. After painting out this, you can also take this to paint it out. But you cannot take a window of size 2, because if you take a window of size 2, then it will like again overlap with this ball and it will not work. So you have to find out in this problem at least how many use of the stamp are needed to paint all of them, and you have to choose an optimal value of k also. So you have to choose some optimal value of k and paint all of these. Now for choosing out the optimal value, what you can easily see here is just a greedy approach, because see, if this is the minimum which is 1, if you take a window of size 2, then it is always not possible to paint this part. So you just have to find out the minimum among all the windows. Windows mean that what is the length of the balls, consecutive balls which are all white, because you can take a stamp of that size and then paint out all the balls. But because maybe it can happen that the window size is 3 here and this is 1 here. If you take 3, then it can paint this in one step, but this cannot be painted. So you have to find out the minimum among all of them, because the minimum among will tell what is the minimum window size you have to take to paint all the balls. But you have to output the number of times you have to use this window to paint all the balls. So you first have to find out k and then the time itself. So finding out k, you just have to find out all the windows size and minimum among all the window size, which is very simple. And then after finding out the window size, you have to find out that if I want to paint that window with this window, like with this paintbrush, as you can see this stamp, what is the number of steps I have to take. Now what you can easily see here is maybe the window size is equal to, for this case let's assume it's equal to 2. Maybe you can assume if it's equal to 2, you can paint this in one step, and you cannot take this in one step. You have to again paint it like this. So you have to find out the minimum among all of the window size, and then you have to find out that if you want to paint all the balls, consecutive balls, maybe there are like, let's assume 5 balls. So if the window size is 2, you first take this 2, then this 2, and if there is some left, you will like paint it again. So it's just dividing the total number of like this window size, maybe it's equal to x, divided by, or actually finding out the seal of x divided by the window size, which is k. And that's the answer. You have to add it over all the windows, and that's the whole like logic for this problem. So I'll turn on to the code part now. It's also very simple. The main thing in this problem is you don't have to iterate over the n value, because n is very large. You have to iterate over the m value. Now how the constraints and how the input is given, as you can see, input is there are n balls, m of them are blue, which is given to you like this. So as you can see, there are 5 balls. 1, 2, 3 or 5, you can number them, and 1 and 3 ball, the first index and the third index ball, are blue, and the rest of them are white. If you iterate over them, like if you make a whole array and then find out that what are the values of what are the balls which are white and which are like how many windows are there, then it can be very messy and you cannot find it out. But because the constraints are small for m, you can do an O of n operation in over the m. M means the number of blue balls, and that's the like trick for this problem. What you can do in this problem is, because m, the number of or the index of those balls are also not sorted, you have to first sort out all the balls, which means that the index are not sorted. It means that they have said that the 13th ball is blue, the 3rd ball and 9th ball. So first sort it out, and like then the 3rd ball is blue, 9th ball is blue, and 13th ball is blue. Now let's assume that you have some balls, like 13 balls, like let's assume, and the 3rd ball is blue, the 9th ball is blue, and the 13th ball is blue. Now because the 3rd ball is blue, what you can see that you know that the first ball, the 3rd ball is blue. So the balls in between this index, which is like 3 and 9, the 6 balls, or sorry, 5 balls in between these two, in these numbers, are white. Also, the balls between these two are white. And because this is not the end actually, there is also some numbers after this 13, and maybe there are also numbers some before this, like because it starts from one index. So you have to find out what are the windows in which there are white balls. So I hope you get the point. You just have to iterate it over the m, but also for the first and the last point, you have to find out what is the window size, and for the middle, you have to just find out the middle window size between by just subtracting out the ith and I minus 1 element. And that's the logic for this problem. So the code part, this is the code part. Take the input of n and m and the values itself. If m is 0, which means that there is no blue ball, then you can just take the whole array as a window, and it can be done in only one step. You can only paint the whole array in one step. So because there is no blue ball, so the answer for that is only 1. Yep. And then you have to sort down the whole array, the initial array, because you have to find out the minimum among all of them. You can also initialize it with a very large number. I have also done this in a very untrivial manner, but you can just initialize your answer as a very large number and then find out the minimum among all of the the windows. So you have to take the window for the first value. M means I have actually taken that. Maybe it can happen that there is no blue ball. If there is no blue ball, then I have taken that case. But if there is some blue ball, then what you have to do, you have to take that ball and then find out how many balls are before that, which is like a0 minus 1, because 0, the first index minus the current index, will tell you how many balls are there. And then also we have to do the same for the last index, because how many balls are left from the last blue point to the last element. The last total length minus the last blue ball will tell you the last window size. And that's what I find it out. Take it out the minimum among all of them. This is the difference. Finding out the minimum is just finding out the minimum among all the window sizes. And then we have to do the same, in which I will again iterate over the windows. As you can see, the windows is this, and finding out the ceil of the the window size divided by k. And k is actually stored in actually answer stores the k in this problem. So that's what I've done, answer divided by the difference divided by answer. And same for the first and the last. So there are two also windows starting from the first blue ball. There is also some window before it, and also at the last blue ball there is also a window after it. So because as you can see, it can happen that there are some blue balls. If I'm taking the difference between every two consecutive balls, then I can take out these windows. But there is also one window which is between the first blue ball and the first empty. If there is no blue ball, but there is some window also here. There is some white balls here, and then there is a first blue ball. Same, there might be some white balls in the end, and then there is nothing. But you have to iterate over these blue balls. When you are at the last blue ball, you have to also see this index, this this window, and that's what I've done. Yep, and that's the whole logic for this problem. I just output a total number of steps you have taken. I will link the description, the code of all of these problems, so you can check check the code out if you have still any doubts. You can mention on the comments, you can mention on the doubts in the comment box. Sorry, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep coding. Bye.